Hi everyone, thanks for being here. And I'm Edil Christian. I'm currently doing my master's in computer science at Rutgers University, and I was the intern here in the DevOps team for the summer. And my intern project was CloudWatch Logs support in ECS Manager. Am I audible to everyone? Yeah. So let's dive right in. So what are logs? So we have multiple platforms here like Kiwi Plus and Player One, and they are made up of services. Now these services were created by the engineering team, and logs are basically records or history which is left behind by the services. So the logs tell like, oh, this was the time when this happened, and we did this or something like that, like information about that event. And we can use it for debugging or tracking purposes. So here are two examples of logs. The service name is Daphne, the first keyword that you are seeing, and the first log is actually a web request, and it's asking for some information. And the second one is a human readable audit log. So moving on. Now I told you like these services, they leave behind these logs, and these services are deployed on cloud. And the space where they are deployed, it's called a cluster. Such a nice name. And so there are multiple containers on each cluster, and to run this container, to manage them, we need some kind of container management service. And Amazon provides elastic container service, ECS. So that is AWS ECS. And so moving on, what is ECS Manager? So Simulmedia has this in-house piece of software tool written, and it's easier to manage, it's easier to access all the ECS AWS ECS features. And as you can see, here's a screenshot of the README file from Simulmedia GitHub of the ECS Manager, and a list of all the features that it provides. Our main focus for this presentation is logs and accessing logs. So ECS Manager has log accessing feature, and it worked like this. There's a log server, and it accesses all the logs from that server. The good thing was all the services were in the same region, in the same network. Then came in the picture the ad server, right? We had log server, the ad server came in. Ad server was designed to be like, it has to be geographically distributed and network isolated. So our old solution, like the way we are handling logs with ECS Manager, it won't be applicable to the ad server. So we needed something new. So what was the answer? The answer was using AWS CloudWatch Logs. As I told you, ad server needed to be geographically distributed, right? And so what is cloud? Cloud offers that. So AWS own CloudWatch Logs service, and it's basically a log management and analysis tool. You can like send logs, you can access those logs, query and sort them. So ad server found its solution, and it started using AWS CloudWatch Logs. So finally, the problem and the day one of my internship where we started was that, like I said, ECS Manager had its own logging thing going on. Ad server came in the picture, and it couldn't use that thing, so it started using AWS CloudWatch Logs. Now, if you want to debug or if you want to go inside some problems to AWS CloudWatch Logs, it was very tough for the developers, for the DevOps team to go and do that, because the UI is complicated, and the biggest thing is we cannot see real-time logs. It's amazing that AWS CloudWatch Logs doesn't provide that. So there were some other problems too, like if you want logs from a specific service, like give me this, I'm providing a service name, Aperio, give me the logs. No answer. And hence we thought of this project, my intern project, to provide a CloudWatch Logs feature inside the ECS Manager, which already had a logs feature. So using this, we don't have to go to the bad UI of AWS CloudWatch Logs, and the already designed principles of ECS Manager can be applied, and we can access CloudWatch Logs. So that was my goal. I have prepared a live demo. Just a note for the developers, you don't have to learn anything new about, because when you start using CloudWatch Logs inside the ECS Manager, you don't have to learn anything new, because it's all in the line of design of the already defined logs and the styling of the ECS Manager. So it's easier to access. Let's jump to the terminal. Now this is a command line, and I'll start writing a command. Bear with me. So that's ECS Manager, we are using that. We have to provide a cluster name. Now GRD prod US East, I know US East one, that's the East Coast. GRD is gaming, and logs, we are using logs. And one more thing, finally, we need to provide whose logs do we want. We want logs of a service, right? So I'm giving Aperio Yeah. And I also want to see timestamps. In the logs that we get, they may or may not give timestamps. So I provided a feature where we'll see time. And as you notice, I'm not providing a start time or an end time. So by default, it will assume the last 1 minute. So now from the GRD prod US East 1 cluster, for the Apereo service, we'll get all the logs for the last 1 minute. Oh God. Yeah. So it gave all the logs for the last 1 minute and then it didn't stop. These are real-time logs being generated inside the server right now. As you can see, it's moving. It's real time and you can see the time. August 11, yeah, 2:32, 39 seconds. See, this right here is magic. I mean, it. Don't you think it's so cool? It can be used like in a movie, like where they're hacking and yeah, like Mission Impossible. Like in Mission Impossible, the only difference is that I don't look like Tom Cruise. I'm more handsome. Okay, clear the screen. Okay, so I only provided Apereo. I can also provide one another service name, like multiple service names. So I'll go and write Horadrim. It should show both of those now. Yeah, so see Horadrim, Apereo, and you can see the timestamps too next to them. This thing is not possible to do with AWS CloudWatch logs. Like they don't give logs for a specific service, and even the real time, like at like the 40th second, there are logs being generated by Horadrim as well as Apereo, and we are able to see both of those, which is not possible using AWS. Now one more fun thing. Let's provide a query. Okay, so for that it's -q. Now see a little bit of syntax. So someone comes up and says like, there's a problem going on with all the people who are using the PlayStation platform, and I want to find out. Let's go and check the logs. So platform equals PlayStation PS. It should work. Yeah. So I'll highlight for you. Let me stop this. Can you see this? Flat PS. So all these logs are generated by, and you can also like use queries like this, like language. I hope FRA is French. I mean, we can check that, but yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and do this. Also, now someone comes up and says, there was a problem last week, and how do we find what was the problem? And I'm like, okay, we can give a specific start time and end time and check the logs for that. So I'll give dash s start time 2022 6 August. Let's go 6 August. This is just the time format. I also have to provide a delta. Delta is like a time range, like starting from this time till how much. So, in 1 minute, there will be thousands of logs. So let's just do 15 seconds. You'll see. Timestamp, start time. Yeah, that's, and I want to see all the logs. So L-1 is default to see all the logs. Sure. Right. Thanks, Doug. August 6th, if you can see the timestamp, 12 o'clock, and Apereo, Horadrim, right? So we got those all the logs inside those 15 seconds from last week, and we can also save this in a file, and then we can later on check. This is absolutely impossible without using like AWS CloudWatch logs. You cannot do this. Amazon doesn't provide this. I do. So yeah, that's my live demo. And moving on. Future improvements. Right now, the whole feature is attached with ECS Manager, but there are places where AWS CloudWatch Logs is used, and we can try to integrate this somewhere else too, so that it becomes independent from ECS. And there's a Seattle branch, there's a New York branch, and they have this time zone thing. Initially, it was only New York, so it was this US East 1. So we need some improvements in time zone handling. And what I learned. So I'm doing my master's. I've been studying for like ever. I don't know, but in college and in education, it's mainly result oriented. Like we are given the assignment and we have to find like this is the output you want. So we always work towards getting that output. And I came here and I started with that mindset, but no, it's a lot different. The focus is not just to get the output, it's also to abide by the coding style and design principles. That matters a lot in software and development. People who have used Python, they must be knowing of these IDs. So I used to use Jupyter notebooks. It's like this small cells and small pieces of code, and you get, and there are people in science know this. So I use that. But if you need to work on big programs and codes, you need like a proper IDE. So I started using PyCharm after coming here, and that's now I'll be using that. Although my college will bring me back to Jupyter notebooks, but and yeah, I also learned a lot about GitHub and like daily pushing my code to GitHub, and then Vincent would do a code review and find this is not perfect, this is not perfect, and then yeah, I used to like work on that. And this whole feature is actually released. It's version v1.11.1. You can check it out on GitHub. It's ready to use, so it's out there. Maybe if you find some fault, like it's helpful. Like if you find something that breaks, I don't think so. And yeah, finally, a big shout out to the DevOps team. They were really helpful, and especially Vincent and Doug. These are like two people who have so many years of industry experience, and I'm new and I don't know anything. But they were very they were very helpful and taught me so many things. And when I got the offer letter from like call from Simulmedia, I after I said yes, I went to LinkedIn and I checked how many employees are there, and it had like 120 employees. I went to my roommates and I said, you know, I'm gonna make 120 new friends. and and then I came here first, then I found out there's a Seattle branch and all one. So I was like, oh, I won't be making 120 friends. And as the weeks went by, I thought like 10 weeks is not enough to make 120 friends. I need a whole year. But yeah, I met lots of people from all the teams, and like people who share similar interests like me. Someone who likes making Instagram reels like me, someone who likes going to museums, watching Wong Kar-wai movies, someone who loves Chipotle, and someone who hates Chipotle. So but yeah, I don't know about the future, if I'll be working here or not. Hopefully I do, but if I don't want these connections that I made to end. So anytime if you want to hang out in New York City, grab a lunch on me. I live nearby. It's New Jersey is nearby, you guys know that. So I can come, we can hang out, and yeah, you can. I have shared contacts with few people, but if I miss someone, sure, like we can connect. Hopefully stay in touch. So thanks for having me, Simulmedia. Thank you. Any any questions? No? No questions. That's nice.
That is it.
Yeah.